I've made a ton of videos now explaining to you how you can be more attractive to women, increasing your sex appeal, viewing beauty from more of an objective standpoint. But there's one thing I haven't really talked about, and that is the difference between the male and the female gaze. Not the homosexual gaze, gaze as in G-A-Z-E, a viewpoint. The male and female gaze is represented in almost all of the media that we consume. The movies we watch, the books we read, are all filmed, directed, and written from a viewpoint of one specific gender. Some examples of this include Megan Fox in Transformers, or even, of course, 50 Shades of Grey. Now, before we get into how you can actually be more attractive by understanding this, of course, first, we have to understand what it means. So here is my definition. The female gaze is a viewpoint or perspective of what women find attractive and appealing, not men. On the other hand, the male gaze is what men think is attractive and what men tend to prefer. Now, even after those examples and even that definition, you can probably think of some examples of your own personal media that you consume of how things are represented more in the male gaze or in the female gaze. Now, in regards to increasing our attractiveness, here's a trend that I've noticed, and that is most attractive men, or the most attractive men, usually operate from a female gaze. However, the least attractive men overall tend to operate from a male gaze. Now, the way that we use the female gaze to make ourselves more attractive is by understanding what women like, and then we represent that in what we present ourselves as to the world and also our lifestyle. Now, this video is not just gonna be simply information being thrown at you. I'm sure you understand male versus female gaze at this point in time. However, now I wanna do like a little exercise. We're gonna give some examples of what you think what the male gaze is versus what the female gaze is for popular things I notice within a man's life. Let's go ahead and start. Now, the first example we're gonna do is cologne or fragrances, right? Fragrances is a unique sort of niche because most attractive men usually get involved in some fragrance. But did you know fragrances are made from a female gaze and also a male gaze? So I'm gonna give you two popular examples and you try and guess which one caters more to the male gaze. Creed Aventus or Dior Sauvage. And the answer is Creed Aventus actually caters more towards the male gaze versus Dior Sauvage tends to cater more towards the female gaze while also being catered towards the male gaze too. However, you put up a smell test between the two, I guarantee you most females will prefer Dior Sauvage over Creed Aventus. And I've been on these fragrance forums and I've read multiple times that Creed Aventus is an example of how men like the smell, but women necessarily don't like the smell. And I think that's why it's so popular within the manosphere and within the fragrance community is because men keep promoting the fragrance to each other because that's what they like. But if you think about fragrances altogether in general, most people wear fragrances so that they get complimented and they smell good to other people. That's exactly why the mass appealing fragrances such as Dior Sauvage, which also operate from a female gaze, are so popular. Up next is cars. This, once again, has nothing to do with your physical image, but we're gonna get to that. But cars, in regards to guys using their cars to attract more women or to represent them being more attractive, here's what the guys get wrong, is that once again, there's also cars that represent more towards the male gaze, and there's cars that represent more towards the female gaze. Let's go through an example right now. So on one hand, we got the SRT, Hellcat, Red Eye, and then on the other hand, we got the G-Wagon, the Corvette C8, in which I actually had a Corvette C8, right? Which one operates more from a male gaze? This should be easy. That's right, the SRT, the Dodge Demon, the Hellcat, the Red Eye. No chick knows what a Hellcat or a Red Eye is. They see your car and they think it's a standard Challenger or a Charger, whatever it may be. Girls don't know the difference between a Hellcat, a Red Eye, a V8, a V10, but they do know the difference between a Lamborghini, a C8. Actually, they don't know the difference between a C8 and a Lamborghini because I will pull up to drive-through windows in my C8 and all the time girls will ask, oh my God, is that a Lamborghini? That's a new Lamborghini. I love that Lamborghini. I'm like, and I'll be like, yo, it's a Corvette C8, but thank you. So cars kind of built like that around that supercar Ferrari sort of look will cater more towards the female gaze while also catering towards the male gaze too. But I think if you're gonna get like a Hellcat, Red Eye, one of those Charger, Challenger cars that really nobody knows unless you're like in the car community, in order to get more women, then I wouldn't personally get that car. I would opt for something more that caters towards the female gaze. Now, before we go any further, I know there's gonna be guys in the comments, oh, you shouldn't do this for females, you should do this for yourself, blah, 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 right? And I totally agree. If you wanna get a SRT, a Hellcat, Red Eye, whatever, Demon, then by all means, get that for you because that brings you enjoyment and fulfillment. However, don't lie to yourself. A lot of the stuff we do and a lot of the stuff that men do overall is for female attention and to look more attractive to females, right? So with that being said, still do the stuff that makes you happy, but at the same time, think in the back of your head and operate from this mindset. Remember, going back to the point of subjective beauty versus objective beauty, subjective meaning you do what you like, you do what you think is attractive. The world doesn't care what you think is attractive. Females don't care what you think is attractive. Beauty comes from an objective standpoint and is showcased within all realms, cars included. Up next, and this is a very popular example I see within the fitness community, especially, and that is which one appeals more to the male gaze, right? An IFBB pro bodybuilder, somebody like Chris Bumstead or classic Ronnie Coleman, or somebody like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, or even Austin Dunham sort of body, right? I wouldn't say that I'm built like an IFBB pro. I would say that my body actually caters a lot towards the female gaze, right? And once again, the IFBB pro / Chris Bumstead, women actually overall don't find that really attractive. Yes, they'll simp over Chris Bumstead because of his status and because of the pre-selection of other girls doing it, because you know, the hive-minded sort of brain. But overall, most girls would choose a guy who has some leanness, a decent muscle base, and a low body fat percentage overall. So if you're a guy out here trying to chase size, you get super jacked, then overall, you're kind of maybe disqualifying yourself towards a lot of women. And that is why in order to have a nice body that is physically appealing and attractive, it really doesn't take a whole lot. Me, myself, in regards to the female gaze standards, I technically reached that body achievement after only a year of working out. Now, if you do decide to hop on some roids and get like Chris Bumstead or Ronnie Coleman, then you're going to mostly attract women who have that sort of niche sort of appeal towards that type of archetype. Meaning the girls who are in the bodybuilding themselves and they're just attracted to big guys like that, but that is far and few in between. Now here's another big one, right? I talk about sex appeal a lot. If you think about jewelry, tattoos, and all that stuff, it will always be better than having no tattoos or wearing no jewelry, right? Of course, we've discussed this before. However, there's a certain sort of jewelry type and tattoo type that actually caters more towards the female gaze. And that is, in regards to jewelry, is specifically earrings and rings, in which I'm wearing neither of right now. But I notice a big difference in regards to my attraction when I'm wearing rings, a bracelet, and earrings, right? And it's crazy. You would think that these feminizing sort of characteristics like wearing earrings, rings, and all this stuff will be unattractive from a masculine perspective, but little do you know, females actually find that attractive. So that's where you gotta kind of rewire your mindset and your brain. And you gotta realize that some of these feminine characteristics are actually seen attractive in men. And yes, you can still be masculine and have these feminine characteristics like wearing rings, jewelry, and stuff like that. Now, in regards to tattoos, there's one certain type that caters more towards the female gaze over like a big back tattoo or like a tribal sleeve or something like that. And that is like the little tattoos. You see them on a lot of TikTokers or a lot of these e-boys. They'll have like finger tattoos and like these little small tattoos on their arm, or especially like their leg area. Leg tats on a guy, it does something for females, right? So in regards to tattoos, that's how you cater more towards the female gaze, also including with jewelry, and that ties overall into your sex appeal. Now the last example I have is facial hair. Now overall, the most attractive facial hair length is like a light or dense stubble, something close to the face and dense. This will overall almost always be more attractive than having a long, scraggly, strangly masculine beard. I don't know what to tell you. If you guys don't believe me, go ahead and do the research yourself, or even ask some of your female friends. Do you prefer this guy with a long ass Jason Momoa Viking beard? Or do you prefer this guy with a nice, clean, dense stubble, or even a medium beard like myself? I'm kind of growing out more of a medium beard. If you're a black guy, you can definitely get away with more of a longer beard, but never too long. And then sometimes, depending on the girl's age, they will actually prefer no facial hair. So it depends on the girl's age and like kind of what she goes for. I've noticed the older a woman is, the more she'll tend to like the longer, more masculine sort of features and stuff, including like a long beard and stuff like that. However, most of you guys watching right now are probably within your early to middle 20s, max late 20s or early 30s. And with that being said, within this age range, a lot won't prefer the big masculine beards over something like a clean dense stubble. Overall, the point from this video is that you need to appease the female gaze more. And also, if you tend to realize, a lot of the female gaze standards also tend to fall in line with objective beauty standards. So overall, just make yourself more objectively attractive. If you're ready to level up, check out my Digital Romeo application down below, where I teach you how to make these changes within your own personal life and your own objective image, while also increasing your social status so that you can leverage that into more dates online on Instagram and also dating apps, all right? All links will be down below. Subscribe, like the video. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.